Hey, what's up, fam? Thank y'all for tuning in once again. And as always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit that notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. Hey, let's talk about a very important topic. It seems as if this topic comes up probably on a daily basis so much that I think we are desensitized pertaining to it. It's kind of like, when we look on the news and we see all these deletions and violence on TV, we see it so much that unfortunately it doesn't bother us, doesn't disturb us unless it hits close to home, and then we want to rally and call Black Lives Matter and all that kind of stuff. We can say the same thing about food, okay? I saw an article the other day. I was going to do a video about it, but I just implement it in the topic for today. It was about a young lady who rammed her car into, I want to say, McDonald's. I don't know, Popeyes. Rammed her car into Popeyes because they got her biscuit order wrong. And I said to myself, man, this reminds me of the crack epidemic. Remember back when crack was big and you saw these people, or the news would put it out there that these folks out here robbing, stealing, being violent, deleting, doing all kind of stuff so they can go, pawning stuff so they can go and get this high, right? And I'm starting to think that the same thing is happening with the food. There's a lot of articles and incidents where you see people, it's at the fast food place. You don't see this at Sprouts or Trader Joe's, or the vegetable aisle at HEB. You see this stuff at like McDonald's, Popeyes, Golden Chick, Wendy's, that people are getting these orders wrong, messing up the biscuits, ain't no ketchup, stuff like that. And people want to fight, want to cuss folks out, back and forth. For what? You know how many times I've been in a doggone fast food line, get something, and when you look at the bag, drive off, look at the bag, and it's ketchup missing. Or they only give like one napkin. Or you drive off and the tea, tastes like watered down sugar. It's upsetting, but you know what? It's nothing to want to fight and act a fool about. I mean, you go back, you say, hey, could I get a cup? Could I get some more napkins? Sometimes napkins aren't even that serious, but it's like you want ketchup, or they leave cheese off your meal. Like, hey, I paid for cheese. Food expensive now. Can I, I need the cheese, and order cheese, and then you go back and forth. If they don't want to give you cheese, just get your money back. Just get your money back, go somewhere else. It's as simple as that. It's about the money. I mean, and that's one thing I'm gonna get into a lot of videos is trying to explain to people pretty much everything, and I'm gonna say in this country, is predicated and based on money. If you have it, if you don't, if you can promise it, if you can dangle it in front of people, you can reach out and try to grab it. This whole country is built around money, but that's another story. But man, you know what? You know me, I can ramble for a long time on different topics. So we're going to get into this story because this is going to be probably a lengthy subject matter. And this comes from the CBSnews.com, and it reads, U.S. food additives banned in Europe. Expert says what Americans eat is, quote, almost certainly, end quote, making them sick. And I believe it. There was a story not too long ago about these colors, like, what was it called, Red 40 or something like that. It was in cereal and Skittles that was banned in other countries, and they would have a big uproar about why is it in the foods that we have. Remember, that story lasted like about a couple of minutes, and then you heard nothing else about it. But now this story comes out a few days ago, and it's from London. And man, it's a lot to dissect, so let's get into it. Like I said, don't forget to subscribe and like the video and share this, because I'm quite sure food is affecting everyone in this country. So it's from London, and it reads, from baguettes to focaccia. I don't know what focaccia is. Europe is famous for its bread. Oh, this is the bread. But there's one ingredient conspicuously missing: potassium bromate. It is a suspected carcinogen that's banned for human consumption in Europe, China, and India, but not in the United States. First question the main question I'm gonna ask is, why would you put stuff like this in foods for your people? All right, keep that in mind. In the US, the chemical compound is used by some food makers, usually in the form of fine crystals or powder to strengthen dough. It is estimated to be present in more than 100 products. The substances that we're going to be listing here and going into detail looking at, I want you to notice what forms they're in. Pay attention, and then, because we're going to add it all, we're going to put it all together, and I think it's going to kind of prove something that I have thought, that everyone has really thought. Quote, there is evidence that it may be toxic to human consumers, that it may even either initiate or promote the development of tumors, aka, cancer. Professor Eric Millstone, an expert on food additives at English University of Sussex, told CBS News. He said European regulators take a much more cautious approach to food safety than their U.S. counterparts. Asked if it can be said with certainty that differences in regulations mean people in the U.S. have developed cancers that they would not have developed if they'd been eating exclusively in Europe, Millstone said that was, quote, almost certainly the conclusion that we could reach, end quote. So basically, this dude is saying that America is just really purposely making their own people sick. Now, like I said, everything can be based on money. We can say that, being sick makes a lot of money for big pharma and the insurance companies. A lot of money. And it's sad and it's sickening that the government and people in power will allow these things to happen. Now, we continue. It said it's not just potassium bromate. A range of other chemicals and substances banned in Europe over health concerns are also permitted in the U.S., including, and let's look into these, okay? Including titanium dioxide. Now, I looked up titanium dioxide. Let's see how quickly we can get to that. And with a quick Google search, it says titanium. So what is titanium dioxide? Titanium dioxide is a fine white powder or dust that occurs naturally. It was first intentionally produced for the use as a white pigment in 1923. It is naturally opaque and bright, which makes it useful for use in paper, ceramics, rubber, textiles, paints, inks, and cosmetics. Now, why would you put something like this in food, especially for food for children? What food, you may ask? Let's try Skittles. Let's try candy. Question of this, like I say, Google. You can look all this stuff up. Easy research. So why is titanium dioxide in Skittles? Titanium dioxide is used in popular candies and other processed foods to give a smooth texture or to work as a white colorant. The pigment can brighten other colors, making the food more vibrant and appealing, but the additive has no nutritional benefit. So again, why would you give this to children? There's another website say thousands of children's sweets still contain additives unsafe for human consumption. My gosh. And this is the government that we supposed to support and trust that they will do right by the people. But yet other countries are saying that the U.S. is pretty much purposely making us sick. Now they try to say, hey, the FDA says it's okay to consume these additives in small amounts. But the thing about it is you put it in foods that is high in sugar, high in, carbs or whatever, and that if not processed right, through diet, through exercise and motion and stuff, it'll turn into excess sugar, which can be burned and it'll be turned to fat, and and that stuff attacks your cells, and there you go with your cancers and all that. But it's all, your body is one big object. And so it all correlates with each other. You feel me? Let's see, the next one says brominated vegetable oil. Another quick Google search for brominated vegetable oil, BVO. It says it's a complex mixture of plant-derived triglycerides that have been reacted to contain atoms of the element bromine bonded to the molecules. In other words, it was done in a lab pretty much. Brominated vegetable oil is used primarily to help emulsify citric flavored soft drinks, preventing them from separating during distribution. So basically, it's taking something that's not good for you and making it palatable for your consumption. So taking something that's not good for you, add it to something else that's not good for you, and making it to where you can tolerate it. It said, why is it in my drink? Oh, it say BVO is banned from use in foods in many countries. So why is it still used in some soft drinks sold in the U.S.? It say years ago, PepsiCo recently announced, like 2013, PepsiCo announced that it would remove BVO from its Gatorade drinks in response to customer concerns. So if you can take it out, it must be, you must not need it. It's just like must be like a cheap compound that most likely these additives are used to cheapen food, but unfortunately, our food is expensive anyway, so they might as well keep this stuff out. The next little ingredient, I won't call it ingredient. The next little additive is potassium bromate, and again, quick little Google search. It says potassium bromate is a bromate of potassium and takes the form of white crystals or powder. It is a strong oxidizing agent, kind of like I don't want to say baking soda, but like Tide. Why is potassium bromate bad for you? Let's click on that. Potassium bromate can irritate the lungs. Repeated exposure may cause bronchitis to develop cough, phlegm, and/or shortness of breath. Repeated exposure to potassium bromate may affect the nervous system, causing headaches, irritability, impaired thinking, and personality changes. Now, this stuff is in bread. Now, think about the story that I brought to you at first about how the woman rammed her car into Popeyes because her bread, aka biscuit order, was messed up. You understand what I'm saying? So the foods plays a part in your brain function. Okay, it affects it. What you eat, what they say, you are what you eat. What the scriptures say, let thy food be thy medicine. So if your food is not good for you and that's your medicine, it's going to make you sick. There's nothing positive about it. It's kind of like high consumption of alcohol. If people use alcohol to cure what ails them, or drugs, to to help ease pain, mental pain or some kind of physical pain. If that's your medicine, in the long term, it's only going to make the problems worse. Let's see the next substance. Ooh, I can't know if I can say this. Azodicarbonamide. Carbonamide. Azodicarbonamide. Yeah, I think I said that pretty good. Next Google search, what does it say? What is ADA? ADA is a chemical substance approved for the use as a whitening agent in cereal flour and as a dough conditioner in bread baking. It says, people ask, what does ADA do to your body? Let's do a quick click. Cases report in epidemiological studies in humans have produced abundant evidence that ADA can induce asthma, other respiratory symptoms, and skin sensitization in exposed workers. And this is one of the chemicals that was in Subway bread, and they had a big issue with that. I think Subway is probably still using it. No, it says Subway is removing the chemical. So yeah, remember, Subway removed the chemical because of this, finding that ADA was dangerous. But again, if it ain't natural, I mean, why would you not think it's that dangerous? And the last one is propylparaben. And a quick Google search of that. And again, this is why I tell kids, little peanut head kids, if you're not making A's and B's in all your classes, I'm just gonna say it, you got to be ignorant, dumb, or just pure lazy, or addicted to all these dang on me chemicals to where your brain just ain't functioning right. Because everything you need to succeed in school now, anything, you can look up anything on this internet and find the answers to. You matter to research more than one site, which is smart, a few sites to make sure what you're reading is correct, but you can find anything you want to on this computer, man. This ain't like when we used to shoot stuff like this back in the day. If I wanted to do this research, I had to go to the library, card catalogs, all that kind of stuff. But now, this right here is probably why the guy who did the study, been doing these studies for 50 years. Can you imagine how he did his research 50 years ago? Yeah, y'all kids got it easy. Anyway, this propylparaben is the benzoate ester that is the propyl ester of 4-hydro, some kind of acid. Preservative typically found in many water-based cosmetics, such as creams, lotions, shampoos, and bath products. Also used as a food additive. It has a role as an antifungal agent and an antimicrobial agent. People also ask, is propylparaben safe? Acute toxicity studies in animals indicate that this propyl thing is relatively non-toxic by both oral and parenteral routes, although it's mildly irritant to the skin. So, regardless, it's still not good for you. It says, is this propyl thing harmful for the skin, given the endocrine disruption capacity and documented female and male reproductive harm, coupled with the potential for repeated lifelong exposure? It is clear that long chain parabens like this one should not be used in personal care or cosmetic products. This was written in 2019. So again, they say this does not even say to put in cosmetics, but it's put in foods. Millstone, who has spent almost half a century researching food and agriculture science, said most Americans were likely completely unaware that they were being exposed on a daily basis to substances in their food viewed as dangerous in Europe. Now, this stuff is dangerous in Europe. If you go to African nations too, same thing. They'll probably just think, well, if it's available or it's in the store, it's probably fine. And a lot of people do think that. They think, why would the government do this to us? or they put something in the food that we can't eat. You know, it's approved by the FDA, but there's a lot of stuff approved by the FDA that we shouldn't be taking. In a statement to the CBS News, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration said all food additives require pre-market evaluation, and regulations require evidence that each substance is safe at its intended level of use before it may be added to food. Let me tell you why I call BS on that. I live in a county, right, in the rural area of a city. Our water system is different than the city's water system. Out here, they use wells. From time to time, which has caused me to go and research and find and get a whole house water treatment system, filtration system, which I mean I would recommend for most people in the world, city or not city, rural or not rural. When you turn the water on, when you turn the water on in the morning, first thing, and you let it run, you get this chlorine smell. I'd say it smells like pure bleach down there, but you get this chlorine smell, strong smell. And it lasts for a long time. And then after time, and after, sometimes it's bad, sometimes you can't tell. But after a while, you start noticing, you get out the shower. And I take cool, maybe lukewarm or cool showers. You got to shower and skin look like ET white, hair be feeling dry. I use put conditioner in your hair, like wave conditioner in my hair and stuff after I get out the shower. Things, it just didn't seem right. Teeth, gums would feel like numb, kind of like tender for like no reason, like all of a sudden, But when you go to the water company's website and, you look at, you go in there and you do the little research, or you go in there and complain about the smell or taste of chlorine in the water, they'll say that it's up to the minimal standard. Say we can have this many particles or additives in the water for safe consumption. So we can get pretty much saying we can get away with this. We got to clean the water, and this is what we put in there, and it's safe for you. So pretty much by law, there's nothing you can do about it to us. You can't do nothing to us. Best thing you do is buy your water treatment system. So that's why I say I call BS on this here, because although the FDA may say things are safe at its intended level, number one, America is a very obese nation. What they're saying, about damn near 50% of us, I think 60-something%, 60, 70, like I say, almost 70% of us are overweight, and about 50%, from about 40 to 50% of us are obese. That tells you right there that we do not eat food at its intended levels. We're over consuming whatever the heck that we are eating. If we're not eating a whole lot, the amount of exercise that we're putting forth with our bodies is not equaling out to what we should, to be able to filter out these toxins in our body that we purposely put in our body. So basically, like I said, we're not eating at the intended level. We're eating way too much. So what the FDA should do, if they really were concerned about the consumer, is to change these regulations to what is happening, or find a way to educate and minimize or eliminate. Because see, the other countries, they're like, well, hey, at the intended level, this would be great, but what if people overindulge? Because people will overindulge. Everybody knows, like, just like sugar. Sugar is an addictive substance. People will overindulge in sugar if you give it to them. I mean, what they say, Americans they would eat like 17 tablespoons of added sugar every day, like 50-something pounds of sugar a year. When they say back in the day, we probably wouldn't eat but a pound maybe of sugar, extra added sugar per year. Now we have 50 something pounds. Something is not right. Something's got to change. Like say the government knows these. If we can find it, if other countries are seeing it, that means our government sees it. And they do nothing about it because, well, sickness is a money grab. Sickness is very lucrative. It's a lucrative business, let's say that. Post approval, our scientists continue. This is from the FDA. Little coin. Post approval, our scientists continue to review relevant new information to determine whether there are safety questions and whether the use of such substances is no longer safe. The agency added, like bull coin. Stacy McNamara is from upstate New York, but she has lived in London for a decade. She said raising children in the UK has opened her eyes to what's allowed in foods in the US. McNamara has no plans to ever move back home, and she told CBS News that food safety was for sure a part of that decision. Now, I did videos about people moving to other countries because the American dream is just not, for real. And this is one of them. You got the crime rate. And understand, like I say, food is what actually, and you think about this. America has a high crime rate, a high prison population. Why is that? I think people just become crazy all of a sudden. Have you ever, let's say, have you ever just said, I'm gonna stop eating sugar? I've done that. And they'll tell you, man, the withdrawals, or let's say you want to do a fast, and man, it's hard. You know what I'm saying? If you already a person that frowns and mad all the time, you know what I'm saying, got quick temper, short temper, quick trigger, go on a fast. Cut sugar out your diet completely. And they'll tell you, them first few couple of weeks, man, you are so irritable that you want to delete somebody. You get headaches, get grouchy, you get upset, fuss at everything, snap at everything. That's what happens. So my belief is if you change the diet in this country, change the foods, make them more healthy like other countries do, I believe a lot of our problems, well, hell, it ain't just me here, you can tell. A lot of our problems will be solved. It will be diminished or minimized. But like I say, sickness is lucrative in this country. The FDA acknowledged, however, that not all other compounds used in any given recipe may convert during the production process, but that control measures were utilized to minimize the amount in final product. That's just a legal way of saying that. Hold on, let's go back. In a statement to CBS News, the FDA said that when used properly, potassium bromate converts into a harmless substance during food production. But they said sometimes it doesn't happen. Remember that trail derailment last week? Oh no, it was more than last week. It's been in the news since about last week up there in Ohio, where this compound, they said it was like a toxic chemical. And when it was caught fire, it became toxic. But then they set the rest of it on fire and couldn't find out they shouldn't have done that. And it made the chemicals more toxic, and it got into the rivers, got into the air, got into the soil, to the map, to the point where they even just found out they dug up the soil and sent it brought down here to Texas and up to Michigan. And people upset because they didn't know it was coming down here. But it's it's a waste disposal place. So they'll take care of the disposal properly. But the part of transporting it, no one knew that it was being transported. So this stuff could have been going down the highway, tanker or 18-wheeler, however it came, could have flipped over, caught fire or whatever the case, could have been in a wreck, could have leaked, spill or whatever. No one would have known that it was coming. And like that happened in Ohio, wouldn't have been disposed of, could have quite possibly not been disposed of properly, and could have caused a lot of problems like this happened in Ohio. So basically, like I said, so in one form, it may not be harmful. But in another form, it could be deadly. But what I wanted to say is, like I say, about those compounds, you notice that most of them were crystal-like and powder-like, in powder form, which makes me believe, which validates the belief that a lot of us believe that America created crack. For whatever reason, I believe they was trying to find a way to make cocaine consumable for everyday use, kind of like cigarettes. This is why I think cigarettes got like so many hundreds of chemicals in it, because they was tweaking it to try to make it quote unquote safe for people to use on a daily basis. That made me laugh just even say that, safe. But that's what I think happened with crack and cocaine. Because remember, they say that they used to put little cocaine in Coca-Cola when they first made that drink, and that cocaine was actually a prescribed drug that doctors prescribe to people for certain ailments and illnesses and stuff, sicknesses or whatever. So that's what I believe. I believe they used it. They somehow, like I said, they tried to make it consumable for everyday use, and somehow created this drug and say, hey, this is a drug and this is addictive with rats and blah, 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 whatever. Let's put it in the black community and make money, and we can make money off of it. Same thing with Viagra. That's how things are created. Like I say, Viagra was supposed to be a heart medication, but then they found out that it actually, made, increased erections in people who had erectile dysfunction. So that's why then they created a erectile dysfunction drug. So I think crack was just an accident. They found out what they could use it for, and they put it out to the lower income communities, and the rest, and the rest is history. Now let me try to find, 5 most expensive. Okay, one more little article, and then I'll be done with this. This here says what are the 5 most expensive health conditions? Because remember, the article that we just read saying that a lot of these foods, can cause cancer, making us sick pretty much. Like Europeans are not getting the same cancer that we're getting in America, and it's primarily due to the food. And we already know, like I said, if you eat the right foods, a lot of these illnesses, a lot of these sicknesses, you will, so you can get rid of. Hell, that's why I bought like 3 vegan books, by Black authors this week, and 1 smoothie and juicer recipe book, because I've been doing smoothies for probably about a month, like homemade, and probably like trying to do like 1 every few days, couple of days, whatever. But now I'm going to get to doing once a day, eating, just getting the diet right. Because like I said, let that food be that medicine, period. That's just what it has to be. But it said, what are the 5, this is from the mdlinks.com website. It said, what are the 5 most expensive health conditions? This was written in May 3rd of 2022, so this is like less than a year ago. It says the majority, 90% of the nation's $3.8 trillion in annual healthcare expenditures is for patients who struggle with chronic illnesses and mental health conditions. And again, food plays a part in both of those. The 5 most expensive conditions influencing 50% of healthcare costs are neurological, gastrointestinal, musculoskeletal, heart disease, and number 1 is cancer. It said doctors who implement value-based care can save patients money through preventative health practices. So this means people, this insurance that we see that we deem as worthless because it's like expensive, but it doesn't really help. I'm gonna be a devil's advocate on this insurance, and if you got medical insurance, health insurance through your job, read about it, read what's available with it, and utilize every bit of it. whether it's going to the dentist, getting your teeth cleaned for free, although they will find 4 or 5 cavities, in your mouth. That's just what they're gonna do somehow. You can go get health. You can get checkups for free. Some insurance you can join gyms for like discounted rates. These involve you can have preventative tests done for free or at a major discount. But you have to, but you got to look at your plan and see what's available. These are the things that are going to help you prevent you from, getting these chronic illnesses and diseases. You have to use your insurance. You have to, and also the diet and exercise. These things that you have to do yourself. We have to do ourselves to make sure that our health, to make sure that we're as healthy as possible until the day we die. It says, being sick isn't cheap. That's true. It's especially true of individuals with chronic illnesses and conditions taking considerable toll on health and economic costs in the U.S. as reported by the CDC. Let's say the 5 most expensive health conditions. Again, neurological conditions amount to $250 million paid by employers and $240,000 in claims. Let's say females have often result from spinal cord injuries and seizure conditions. Females have a 28% higher prevalence of neurological issues than males. Claims are slightly higher for children under 12. For adults, they tend to rise with age. Now check this out about money. Patients earning $75,000 to $200,000 annually are most likely to file claims for these conditions, such as multiple sclerosis, migraine, carpal tunnel syndrome, Parkinson's disease, or epilepsy. GI, gastrointestinal conditions. These conditions cost employers $280 million, with $136,000 delegated to GI-related claims. Females are 17% more likely to experience GI conditions, and higher claims for infants are often related to reflux or colic. In the workplace, irritable bowel syndrome is a common culprit, causing over 85% of affected employees to miss work on occasion due to their symptoms or fatigue. Because these jobs, jobs will kill you. They stressing you out. They increasing productivity demands. They're hiring less people to do more work. They're stressing people out. People out is upsetting people, and they get irritable bowel syndrome. Like I say, all your organs work together in one body. They're not separated as we like to think, like the brain, the stomach, the kidneys, the pancreas. All that stuff actually works together. And they all actually are designed to actually, fight off illnesses, maybe separately, but it's to help, like I said, the whole body. So if a job is stressing you out, a lot of it starts with gut health. So irritable bowel syndrome, makes sense that this would be an issue because gut health is, like I say, number one. Well, that's where your food goes, where your food starts, right? Let's see, cardiovascular disease drives employers to pay $357 million, while claims around to $169,000. Males have a 6% higher prevalence of heart disease, and cardiovascular claims rise with age. Now that has to do with the work, stress, things we have to do to, as men, that we have to take care of. So a lot of men die before a lot of women. Y'all just be understanding the stuff we be going through. All that stuff y'all be doing, that emotional stuff y'all be doing. Just like we be looking at y'all like, man, y'all gotta be crazy. Y'all just don't know what we got going on. It says also, patients who make less than $75,000 per year have the most CVD claims. This is especially true in U.S. southern states where obesity and physical inactivity are contributors. The main diagnosis includes heart rhythm issues, stroke, heart attack, and clogged arteries. Food. The lack of exercise, which creates the obesity. Like I said, the jobs where, like I say, the productivity rates are up, and they want you to do more work with less help. All that stuff creates these problems. Musculoskeletal conditions. These conditions cost employers $477 million and $317,000 in claims. Females have a 22% higher prevalence than men. And then the number one is cancer, which is what the CBS article is based on. Foods the additives that are known to cause cancer have cancer-causing properties. Let's say that. The number one most expensive condition for employers is cancer, costing them $553 million and $103,000 in cancer claims. Females have a 52% higher prevalence than males because of breast cancer. And older populations are at a higher cancer risk. See, this is the thing about, again, with food and stress and stuff like that. Over time, it eats you up and it will catch up with you. As kids, we eat candy, soda, Kool-Aid, things of that nature. And we don't think nothing about it because we can tolerate it. And it's like, we have no problem. We can go all day eating candy and stuff. And have hold on. Yeah, like I'm saying, like as kids, we can eat candy, junk food all day and think, there's no problems. Because we're young. Our bodies are at its peak, at its physical peak. The metabolism is high. We run, jump, play sports, all these type of things. And we feel like nothing affects us, but as we get older and our lives become more sedentary and we have more responsibilities like bills and kids, jobs. That, that takes a toll on our body. And then the foods or the lack thereof, proper nutrition that we eat or take in, it eventually catches up with us. And then when we in our 30s and 40s and we get up and our joints hurt and we get up out of bed and every bone in our bodies is starting to creak and pop and stuff, and we laughing at it. We like, man, this what it is, getting old, and we in our 40s, which is not even middle age supposed to be. Well, it's because of our lifestyle, dietary and everything else. So we have to train our children to eat correctly and to exercise correctly, so that when they get to our age, it's already implemented in their mind, and they will not stray too far from it, and they will always, come back to it. They say those earning a yearly income of less than $75,000 are more likely to have cancer at some point, and it has to do, with the lack of food, good food choices, and like I said, eating these Skittles with these additives that's going to eventually kill us. So other expenses include diagnostic tests, outpatient procedures, hospital admissions, and radiations. It's saying about annually, when you start getting these chronic illnesses, you're going to spend at least $2,000 to $3,000 per year on an average. Taking care of these conditions. Why do we want to do this to ourselves? And we don't. But we get comfortable, and we don't know how to get out of change certain habits until we're forced to. But then a lot of times, even when people are forced to, after a while, they won't even change it then. So, hey, it is what it is. Anyway, that's all I have for this article. I could have went a lot longer, and who knows, I may do a second part of this later at some other time. But I just wanted to give you that information. I think I gave you enough information that you can look at it yourself. I'll post the links in the video in the description box. Do the research. Let's eat healthy. Let's eat smarter. Hell, if the government is not going to help you, and they're not, then you need to don't even think about that, because they're not going to help you. You got to help yourself. We got to do it for ourselves. No one else is going to do it for us. So let's get out here. Let's eat right. Let's exercise. Let's try and let's educate each other. Let's help each other. The village. Let's help the village, so we can all live long and prosperous lives. And get these put these big pharma companies out of business. And so that way money can be used for better things, other things like education for our kids, better school systems or something like that, and not using it for trying to prolong people's lives when the inevitable is bound to happen. So anyway, tell me what you think. Leave your comment below and then share it with the world. With that being said, I leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.